not it. No, that's not it. What's up, man?
You don't like that move? Like right there?
No,
That's nice move. Right?
that's not it.
Okay. So whenever y'all ready, y'all good to go.
Okay. I like to put my time on to see how much I
You gonna say for 1 hour?
got. Yeah.
Ah!
Hey Siri, set 1 hour timer.
You said it yourself.
Counting down.
Siri said you said it yourself. That's coming. You know that's coming, right? We're gonna have that technology that's gonna talk back to you. No, I'm busy. You do it yourself.
He trying to get some music to play before we go on. That's what he trying to do.
That's it.
Hey, Yusuf, usually we get a count in, like when you ready to start, count us
we
in.
ready.
Like,
I'm trying to figure out how to mute my phone. How? You know, I just turn it.
is it an iPhone?
Yeah, on the side, right?
Oh, the
Yeah, you turn the volume down?
Nah, or you can turn the volume
got
all the way
it.
down.
Oh, you see what I look like, Luke?
I got it. I like to see it ringing right here. See what happens.
Yeah.
All right,
Let me see what I look like, bro.
Okay, so the music.
See, we can't have it.
Yeah,
See, this is what I'm talking about.
I'm at the place up here on the studio for the podcast.
Right.
And I put the
you
keys.
done?
I put the keys in the drawer.
Okay.
All right.
All right, Danima.
Alright.
Bye bye.
Demeter. Oh, Demeter.
That's my wife, bro. You ready?
Nah, I ain't ready. Nah, I'm ready. We be wild.
Now, actually, in camera 1, I got only you. In camera 2, I got both of y'all. So maybe what I'll do is. So you want this? What I'm gonna do? Camera 1, I got you. Camera 2, I got both of y'all.
You got both of us?
I got both of us, both of y'all in camera 2. So that means that your camera must have, that camera must have moved. I can put this camera right on you.
I thought that was camera 2.
No, this is 2.
Yeah.
He's in 1, 1, 2.
One.
Now I got y'all separated. Now camera 1 is you, camera 2 is you. Okay. So you want to count in with the music?
Count it in, and I play the music, and then
Okay.
keep the camera on him until the.
Okay, keep it on him. I got you. Okay.
Because
So
I'm going to start.
3. All right, you ready? All right. 3, 2, 1, live.
Oh, yeah. That's a smooth groove. Welcome, everybody, to Open Up Forum, where we talk about anything and everything and give you a godly perspective on it. I'm Sean Wilson, and that's Ronald McConaughey, and behind the screen there, we have Yusuf. Yusuf, my man, Yusuf, man, me and Yusuf actually came out of the same city. We over here in Roselle, New Jersey, repping Roselle. Ooh, ooh. You know what I'm saying? But today this is my first actual episode back in 2023 for me. I know Ronald, you did one prior, but this one for me because I was a busy man. You know what I mean? I was busy doing things. Had a couple of deaths in the family, so I had to go and support some families and family members, and it was rough, but I got through it, and we back here on the air. So Ronald, what you got in store for us today?
Yeah, well, I like to say welcome back, Sean. Glad to see you back. See, a lot of people don't understand. He's a busy man, so he was out for a couple of weeks, and we was actually thinking about replacing him.
Yeah,
I had to make the decision. I said, you know what, I'm gonna bring him back. I'm gonna bring him back. So yeah, I'm glad to see you back, brother. It's always good to have you back, man. Missed you, brother.
Yeah.
But you know, we understand you had some things you had to take care of. So
Yeah.
today we got a lot going on, and it's been a lot going on because you know the first thing I'm gonna start with. We got a serious topic today, but the first thing I'm gonna start with is the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, we could talk about that.
The Super Bowl. Sorry, you, but you know.
Yusuf, hey, by the way, Yusuf is an Eagles fan.
There's no camera on me. And, you know.
No, don't take it personal.
I'm here under duress, you know, but you know, God willing, we gonna get through this.
Amen.
Oh yeah, amen. Yeah.
God willing, they will get their whole podcast in. And I'm at the control, so you know.
Yeah, we can't talk too bad.
Just FYI, you know what I mean.
We can't talk too bad about Yusuf's team because you know what? He'll get up and walk out.
Get up there.
He'll get up and walk out, and we be by ourselves.
We'll have a show.
We will have a show. It'll go black in this joke.
Like hello. But yeah, we want to talk about the Super Bowl because it was a great game.
Oh yeah,
That was
agree.
one of the best games that I've seen in a while.
I agree. Philly did their thing, man. They proved that they belong there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it was a great game. You figure they only won what, 3 points? They only won the Super Bowl by 3. And my I love Jalen Hurts. I ain't no Eagles fan. I'm a Giant fan, but I love to see brothers do good. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And he certainly proved himself that he belonged there. He could lead a team. And we just going to have to watch out for him rest of these years because I think that's how long he going to be here. Years, plural. I think we're going to have to watch out for him. I mean, multiple seasons. So, and on that note, of course, the reigning champion, like to see that brother too succeed. Patrick Mahomes and Kansas City Chiefs. They did their thing, man. I know I told you earlier that their defense steps up in playoff time because they were lackadaisical during the season, but they really stepped their game up in the playoffs and throughout the playoffs and into the Super Bowl, man. So I'm really proud of those two teams. They I think experience won out at the end, especially in the coaching side. What's their coach name again? Reed.
Oh, Andy Reid.
Andy Reid. There you go. Andy Reid. What the thing is, he used to coach the Eagles. That's what amazing about that.
Yeah.
He won Super Bowl against his old team. But
you know he had a feeling of relief and winning that Super Bowl over his old team.
Yeah.
You know, he was like, yeah.
I should have kept me.
Yeah.
Gave me what I want.
Yeah, y'all should have kept me. I tried to tell you. But that's good that the whole team had a respect for him after the game and everything. They didn't, feel some sort of way or feel out of the way. They respected the fact that he did bring them to the Super Bowl. He didn't win it with Philly, but he got there with it.
Yep, he got there with him.
And
yes,
now he just happened to beat him in the Super Bowl. This guy, what's his name? Nick Sirianni.
Yeah.
I take my hat off to him. He did his thing.
Yeah, he did his thing.
I take my hat
He
off.
built a Super Bowl.
I don't like his attitude though.
Yeah, sometimes he get a little.
You know what I mean? Like, yo, man, you're gonna be a coach, be a coach.
Yeah.
And be respectful of the teams you play.
Yeah.
What they say about going up the ladder, the same people you meet going up the ladder, you're gonna meet coming down. So.
But yeah, because I'm waiting for next season. I can't wait till the Giants play them again. No hard feelings.
Actually, offer you that last game, you wanna just. See, they can't see me, but
I know the deal.
My condolences to you.
He said they can't see me, but
that's what I said. I can't wait to play y'all.
You don't want to bring that down a little bit. Because that last game was terrible.
Yeah. And I admit it. We got
that last game.
toe.
Philly was like, "What you say?" The Giants was like,
Oh.
But do you think that you have a quarterback? Is Daniel Jones your future?
Yeah, I do think he's the future
Okay.
because to me, he stepped up. He stepped up in his in his game. Period. I think he getting the ball out. He making better decisions than he did in the past. He's trying to correct the fumble, and he did correct it. I don't think he turned over the ball at all. Well, in the playoffs anyway. So, but I think he is the future, and I think he's just gonna get better. As soon as we get some receivers in there, that's gonna work. And I think the defense got to get built up more because we didn't have a dominant defense like Giants normally have.
Right.
We didn't have no dominant defense, and I think that's yet to be seen with the Giants. Once we get a dominant defense, I'll be much happier.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think that the whole division is going to come up now.
Mm-hmm. I think so too.
The whole division. You know, we stumbled out the
You a
gate.
Cowboys fan, right?
I am.
Mm-hmm.
What you in the division?
Yeah.
They get y'all a division? What division y'all in?
We're in your division.
Oh, right.
We split with y'all.
Right.
You know, we split with y'all this year.
Y'all on it. Okay.
You know, last year we took y'all 2 games. Year before that we took y'all 2
Y'all
games.
was everywhere. Y'all never seen.
Yeah, you
So
before
y'all was
that we was
everywhere.
we took y'all 2 games. Year
Yeah,
before that
before
too.
that, yeah.
How many times is that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So last year y'all got us. You know,
Before I
y'all got
went
us.
ball, I had hair. You know.
I know. But how many trophies y'all got?
One.
How many times y'all been there?
The latest one.
Y'all got how many times y'all been there?
3.
3.
Three.
No, y'all been there 4.
4 times.
4 times, and you won one time.
Okay, all right. But you know,
One time.
Dylan is a baby though. 24 years old.
You know what this conversation is like? Yeah, this conversation. The song I was just playing is my boy Roscoe, who filled in for you while you was gone.
Okay.
This is a song, and it's called "Grandpa Said."
Grandpa said.
That's what this conversation is like.
Yeah.
That's what this conversation is like. Cause we got 5 going on 6.
Mm-hmm.
We
Y'all
been
got
there.
5 in the 80s.
The 70s and 80s.
In the
Yeah,
70s,
70s and
We
80s.
missed the
combined.
90s.
So the last time y'all
We got
had
3 in
one
a row in the 80s.
Was 95.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because y'all got 3
Now,
in a row.
y'all,
in the 80s.
remember, y'all went with Jaworski, right?
Yeah.
And that was in the 80s?
It was called a.
Oh,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
that was the 70s.
The
wasn't it?
70s, 70s,
Yeah, that was
yeah,
the 70s.
70s, yeah, 70s.
That was the
And then y'all went with wait a minute, let me make
Andy
sure
Reid.
y'all might have
We
went just
went with
y'all might have just went
Jaworski,
1
Three.
3 times.
and we went with Nav,
Right.
Yeah.
right? And we went
Jaworski,
with,
McNabb.
Oh, yeah.
Four, no, that's 4.
It's
Yeah,
four.
that's 4.
That's 4.
4 y'all
1 and
won
3.
And then, cause we won with Foles, and then we went this
Yeah.
year. So that's
Yeah.
4.
Yeah. But you didn't get spanked this year.
Yeah,
No, we
you
didn't get
spanked.
spanked. We just, I mean, at the end of the day, that play was a factor maybe in the end, but during the game, you can't let Mahomes hang around.
Yeah,
No,
that's true.
No.
You can't let
That's
Mahomes
true.
hang around. So if you let him hang around, then you gonna pay for it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
we paid
that's
for
what
it.
happened.
And
We
Ma-
paid
A
for
lot
it.
of people said that coming into this game, watching the game before it started, watching all the festivities and everything. A lot of people's like, okay, I want Philly, I like Philly, but if it comes down to Kansas City having the ball with 2, 3, 4 minutes left in the game, I got to go with Kansas City. And that was my attitude.
Right.
Because, NFC East, you want to keep it in the division.
And then absolutely.
Because we got more trophies than any other
Yeah,
division.
We sure
Yeah.
do.
And we about to become
And
a-
the league.
And we got a tough division. We
Yeah,
got to
we
be the
got
best
to.
division in
We
football.
about to be at the top of the heat.
Yeah, we about to
the
be
next
the best
couple of
division in
years,
football
man.
next year. Yeah,
Yeah, we're gonna be at the
absolutely.
top of the heat.
Only team we
Yeah.
missing right now in this set right here is Washington.
Washington.
We got
Yeah,
everybody else.
And they gonna sell. When they sell, let me get a new owner. That's gonna be a new blood for them, so then they'll be motivated.
Yeah, they will.
Yeah,
But
man.
but the good thing about Washington, they just signed my man, my enemy, as the offensive.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. They did.
Yeah, they
As
signed
an
him.
OC,
Yeah.
he could put a stamp on that team.
They
Mhm.
should have signed. They should have signed him as the head coach.
I was thinking,
Yeah.
but you know what I said though? If he comes and turns that around, he'll be first in line for that job.
Yeah.
Right.
He'll
Yeah.
be first in line for that job.
And
Yeah.
and that's probably what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I mean, think about this: 5 AFC Championship games, 5. 3 Super Bowl appearances, and you can't get a head coaching job.
Yeah. It seems not right.
Wow, that's. And then you
Seems
got the cats that just lost the Super Bowl against you.
Mm-hmm.
And
Both
two
of
of them
them.
got head coaching jobs.
Yeah, the offensive coordinator and the defensive coordinator both got.
head coaching job.
Come on, man.
Yeah, I
Something
didn't even think about
is
that.
fishy.
Yeah, I
in
didn't
that.
Arizona
think about
and
that.
the
Yeah.
Colts. Yeah.
I say, but the dilemma is everybody saying Reed called the plays. I think that was his whole dilemma, that Andy Reid was calling the plays and he wasn't. And I think that's the whole thing, and everybody ain't sure. So I think this is going to help him if Washington becomes.
Like I said, he put his own staff on that team.
Yeah.
That'll solidify him in their minds.
But even so,
He
with
should.
that uncertainty about who's calling the plays,
Yeah.
I tell you one thing for definite: that kind of resume,
Yeah.
you should have got that job.
But you know this the NFL. You know these owners
Yeah,
not only coaches talk, but the owners talk too.
yeah,
How did he interview?
yeah.
That's
treated-
another thing,
They
I'm
treated
telling you.
Eric Bieniemy like he said something bad about somebody's mama. I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah.
yo, man, give this man a chance and see what he can do. Because
Mhm.
I'm just gonna throw this out there.
You done threw it.
Jeff Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
The pancake thing.
That joke was on
Yeah.
TV. He ain't had no
exactly.
resume.
Give it
The
out
only resume
pancake.
he had.
Yeah.
Yeah, pancake. That's it. That's the only resume he had.
I mean, and I like Jeff Saturday.
I do too.
But if I was serious about trying to give somebody that has a resume that I could look at and be impressed with a shot at head coaching, it would have been.
Mhm. And I definitely, man, if I was in Indianapolis, I probably definitely hired him,
Definitely.
Eric Bieniemy, to rearrange and bring the Colts back to life.
Definitely. But they didn't hire him. They went somewhere else. And so the NFL, that was a great Super Bowl. It was a wonderful time. A lot of people enjoyed it all the way down to the last play that
Mhm.
Philadelphia ran.
Yeah.
And just to see the excitement around the teams,
Mm-hmm.
both of the teams.
Mm-hmm.
Very few people really get that excited about a losing team.
Right.
But Philly fans are excited about this losing team.
Mm-hmm.
Those losers, they're excited about those losers.
Yeah.
All right now. Okay.
Too many losers. Ain't gonna be a lot of these
There's
losers.
gonna be 2-1 losers. But yeah, I understand, and the reason why they're excited, like you said earlier, is that they got a quarterback that is young.
Mm-hmm.
He's maturing because he
He's a
played
leader.
lights. He played lights out
Right.
that game.
Yeah, he's
I
a
don't care
leader. He's
what
a
you
leader.
say.
He's a leader.
I don't care what you say.
Yeah.
Attention, Dak Prescott, pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
That brother played lights out that game.
He played.
He
lights
stepped
out.
up. He made the one mistake,
Mm-hmm.
but I think that one mistake he made it early.
Yeah, he made it
Made it in
early
the first
enough so
half.
they could.
And
But listen, after that mistake, he scored some touchdowns himself.
that's right. After that mistake, wasn't any more. He played mistake free.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was impressed. I was like
Yeah.
saying to myself as I watched the game, I was like, the way this guy is playing, he should get MVP.
Mm-hmm.
Now I know if they'd have won, he'd have got it.
Mm-hmm.
But I still said, when it came down to the end of the game, I said, man, if they really, really are serious about who played the best game this time around, it had to go to Jalen
Jalen
Hurts.
Hurts. Yeah.
I mean,
How many touchdown passes? I mean,
Patrick
touchdown
Mahomes
he
gonna do what
ran
he do.
into, right?
you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Patrick Mahomes going to do what he do.
Oh yeah, he gonna do what he do.
But I knew he got it.
Mm-hmm.
I knew Patrick got it when Philly turned their backs on him and he scampered up the middle and set him up
Yeah.
for in the red zone.
Oh yeah.
I said, what I heard Greg Olsen say, ain't nothing wrong with his ankle. I
Nothing
knew,
wrong with that
I
play.
knew at that time, I knew at that moment he was going to get it. Because if you remember the shot that they showed going to half, him on the side, grimaces, making
Yeah.
like he about to transform into the Hulk or something. What happened was when he made that move, he came back and he played. He was in the groove, man. He was feeling it, bro.
He certainly was.
And even though that happened and he played the way he did in the second half, I still say Jalen Hurts should have gotten MVP, even though they lost.
Yeah.
Because he still, in my opinion, outplayed Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because he ran, what, 3 or 4?
3 touchdowns.
3
He
touchdowns.
ran 3 and threw 1, yeah.
Yeah.
And he kept them in the game all the way to the end.
Yep.
Then they lost by 3 points. It would have been 6 if the field goal kicker wouldn't have missed that field goal.
Yeah, doink.
You know. But I said that when I saw the game. When I saw who they was playing, when I saw the matchup, Philly against Kansas City, I said, this is what's going to happen. I told my wife, I told my kids, I told a couple of friends of mine. I said, Andy Reid is going to take the ball all the way down the field, run out the clock, and kick the field goal. Ain't going to be no overtime.
Yeah, ain't no overtime.
Everybody going home.
We gonna win this thing, go home.
Everybody going home. And that's exactly what happened.
Yep.
That's exactly what happened. Because that's his style. I told you this before. He put on a clinic. He put on a clinic of how to coach.
Oh, yeah.
Pay attention, Mike McCarthy. He put on a clinic of how to coach. 4th down, you don't have to go for it. You don't have to go for it. Trust your team. Trust your team. Sirianni, how many times did he go for it on 4th down?
I don't know how many times.
Yeah, a few, but that's his style though.
Right.
Yeah.
That's his style of coaching.
Right.
That's how he plays.
Right. See,
He plays in your face football. He plays
and
very aggressive.
Yeah.
and Andy Reid plays very conservative,
Very conservative.
by the book.
Methodical.
He don't follow
Methodical.
what they call that analytics. He don't fall for the analytics trap.
He don't.
Cause he could have went for it. Cause they was
He's
like,
old
well,
school.
they
He's
talked
old
about
school.
it. You know, he got his first major decision. Do you kick for a field goal or you go for it? And he was like, we're gonna keep the field goal. Whether we make it or miss it, we're gonna trust the team.
But on the same note, you got to give it to Philly because Philly know how to run that quarterback sneak.
Man, they were killing all season.
Killing them jokers.
All
season. They was killing.
I got to the point where I couldn't help but hate them cats.
I know, yeah. Quarterback sneak. I'm like, how he make that?
They got so bold, they started going for 4th and 3.
I know. Quarterback sneak.
I said 4th and 3. You gonna go?
I said, I don't know how they do that.
They doing that all season.
Yep. They
Other
know how
teams
run.
trying to pass for it. They lining up. Just we gonna sneak it.
Yeah.
We know we get 1, y'all. We get 2. If we get 2, we get 3.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised next season they try to do a 4th and 10. They
Yeah, I know.
we gonna sneak.
4th and 10, quarterback sneak.
Quarterback sneak. He gonna find himself like Joe Judge. He gonna be out of
He
there.
gonna be out of there.
Yeah, but again, see a lot of that. They made a big deal of the Super Bowl. 2 black quarterbacks, first time in history. Which perfect segue into the discussion today. What does it mean to be black in America today? Go.
For me, on that, I think, for me, it's a struggle. I say that because the perception other people have of us as black men, black people in general. They think we're killers, robbers. You know what I'm saying? And it's the point where we have to prove them wrong, and it's that they don't give us, they don't trust us. I don't think, and I believe that's because of fear. They fear us. They fear the stuff we may know, and outgrow them. And you know what I'm talking about.
No, who you talking about?
Yeah, I'm talking about these white folk.
Oh.
Yeah, because they actually fear us because they're afraid of the level and the potential we can reach. And all, let me say this: all white people ain't like that.
That's true.
All white people ain't like that.
Amen.
Trust me, some white people want to see us succeed. They want to see us at equal levels, and they'll push us to do so. But you got the ones, man, and mostly it's probably Southerners. because they want to keep us down beneath them. And we always find a way to manage to pull ourselves above. And that's what I give. That's why it's such a struggle. Because we have to pull, stretch, and fight to get to where we at. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
So that's mine. Hey, Yusuf, you got any? What you think?
I mean,
yeah, I didn't mean to pull you in like that, but you here.
I mean, I think that I've always felt like amongst each other, we had more when we had less. What I mean by that
I know
is
what you're
that
talking about.
as far
What
as
you talking about?
when we didn't have quote unquote access to the entire breadth of America, and we had to rely more on each other,
Right.
we were better to each other. You know, when you had to go to a clothing store that was owned by a black person to buy your clothes and feel dignified, it was better.
It was better.
When you had to go to a restaurant owned by black people, if you wanted to sit down and enjoy your meal like a human being, it was better. You know, when you had to rely on your neighbors to look out for your children while you came home from work because you knew what might happen if they didn't, we were better. You know, and so I feel like when America so-called opened their arms up or open things up to us on the surface, you know, we had to rely less on each other, and so in turn we had less regard for each other.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So, like that. All right. All right.
Yeah.
And I understand how that plays a role into how we define ourselves culturally, depending on one another. And you can see the deterioration. That's the word I'm looking for. You can see the deterioration of that dependency as the culture itself is starting to deteriorate. We have lost something. We have lost respect for our elders. And we got a lot of elders that's out there wilding out now, right? Because that's the generation that's coming up, and they've lost control of themselves. They've lost sight. For the rest of us who haven't gone in that path, you can clearly see the deterioration. We're more dependent and less independent. Now, we don't treat each other the way we really should treat each other. We still have pockets of respect, but we have to take that, nurture that, grow that, spread that around. We have to bring back respect. And as you said, Yusuf, it was a time in America when we had to acknowledge where we were because we wanted to have more but were denied that opportunity.
Right.
So our goal was to work within ourselves, right, and amongst ourselves. We had our own lawyers, our own doctors, police force, letter carriers, right? And this was specifically set up so that we can remain segregated. Desegregation didn't destroy us. I don't think that it destroyed us because if you look at the history of Black America and White America, we've always interacted. We've always worked together. We may not have always agreed under the circumstances with which we work together,
Right.
but we've always worked together.
Yeah.
There has not always been animosity at all times between black people and white people.
Right.
As a matter of fact, in the earliest part of America, it wasn't a black-white issue.
Mm-hmm.
In the earliest part of America, it is what it is today that we're being blinded by, race through. It's the same issue, but we're being blinded by race through, and that issue is social class, rich, poor. They created the middle class. So a lot of people are in the middle class right now. But if you have to go back to the old standards, it would be rich and poor. And what happened was the poor, you'll find that there's more commonality amongst the poor, regardless of the ethnic group, and less commonality among the rich because of the ethnic group. You see? We have to get back to understanding what's at stake. So the question now becomes, what is at stake? Because as you said, you pointed out, we were denied access to the breadth of America, the breadth, the width, the height, the depth of America. Now we have access to that, right? So now what's at stake? We have access to all these things, but what's at stake? The documentary, Eyes on the Prize, that was a powerful, awesome documentary, right? Just following the African-American struggle, what they call the black experience. We went from fighting to be acknowledged as human beings to where we are today. So we went from being called Negroes to being called colored, to being called black, to being called African Americans, right? So we understand that the names may change, but the struggle is always going to be connected.
Right.
Our history is never going to change. The history is the history. We're in a place today where, because we have so much access to so many things, we are in a situation today where we still have to press forward. We still have to press forward without letting go of the good from yesterday. The dependency upon each other, that independent mentality we had. Now we're so, wow, it's crazy. Now we have leadership today among the youth that 50 years ago, we would have never had that. 50 years ago. We'd have never had that 50 years ago. Definitely wouldn't have had that 100 years ago. Because our youth, 100 years ago, 50 years ago, they patterned themselves after their parenting. Whether it was their mother or the father or the grandparents, definitely grandparents played a larger role. Now you got grandparents raising children. Where's the mothers? Where's the fathers? Right? The children grow up remembering the grandparents. What about mom and dad? Right? We have always had that family structure since we've been in this country. And we weren't always slaves in this country. Let's get that. Let's put that on the table so everybody get a good look at that. Right? Now, what does it mean to be black in America today has changed from 20 years ago. From 20 years ago it's changed. Because there's black people today who don't even want to be classified as black. Right? There's some now, I would imagine, that don't even want to be classified as African American. Prior to African American was Afro American. I still got my fro. All right.
Yeah.
So sorry, Yusef. Now, when you understand that, Yusef like
shade.
Like
that was shade. Yusef.
before I had hair, he said it. So now here's the thing, though. Again, I was talking to a brother, and he brought this point out. He said, we have lost so much in pursuit of self. So Yusef, you're right on point with that. You're right on point with that. We have become less relied upon each other, less dependable concerning each other. It has nothing to do with white America. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so
they're just as factionized as we are.
So you saying the unity is gone, is lost.
We've always been a people who were trusting, but now we're less trusting of each other.
Right, and it used to be a time where your neighbor watched out for you, your kids, and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it was like the neighborhood.
That was the neighborhood.
That was the neighborhood.
Right.
Yeah.
Now what happened?
Yeah, it broke out of that.
Like, you got a generation coming up now that don't want to be addressed as he or she.
Oh yeah,
that's not who we are.
That's crazy.
That's never been who we are.
I just can't understand that one.
So if you know they don't want to be addressed as he or she, you know they don't want to be addressed as black or white.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? This, I don't mind where we are in America because I see the big picture. I know that this country, despite all our flaws and our differences, and let me say this, our differences aren't really that much. If you really put the pros and cons down on paper, our differences aren't that much. The flaws are glaring for the country, black and white. We talking about the country. We are probably one of the most hypocritical nations in the world that history has ever seen. Right? Let's start with repairing the damage that was done with that. Right. George Washington once said, he said, it was his greatest desire that one day the Negro would be freed. And I'm saying to myself, when I read that, I was like, but dude, you were the president. You had the ability to shut that down. You had the ability to end slavery. You had that ability, but he didn't do it. Yet he's writing his personal view, his personal desire, his personal opinion is, what he's feeling about slavery is, one day I want to see it end. Right. And I hope that the black man has, the Negro has all the rights. And I'm saying there, you're the president. But you know why he didn't do it? His constituents were rich. The rich, they funded the military. They didn't tax the poor, really, to get the money. You understand? For the fight against them. The rich came through for him. The rich backed him. You understand what I'm saying? The poor followed him because he was a great leader. I got to take my hat off to the man. The man was he was good. He was a good strategist. And that's evident because of how he won the war. But he didn't win the war. Let me say this too. History reveals this. History points this out. It took some time for them to get there, but thank God they got there. History reveals that they would not have won that war without the assistance of black people.
That's right. Yeah.
We fought in every war this country has ever had. We just fought in some wars in different ways than other people fought because they used black people as spies. Right? So we've always interacted in this country. Now, amongst ourselves, we didn't really have this desire to kill each other. We didn't have this desire to hurt one another and to spite each other. We didn't really have gangs. That's not. We had tribes.
Yeah, tribes.
But tribes and gangs are two different things. There's somebody out there that'll probably say, no, they're not. They're the same. Let's do some research. Tribes and gangs, they're similar in some ways, but they're very different in a lot of other ways. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you look at society today in Black America today, we got a lot of gangs. Look what the gangs are doing. They're actually continuing the process of separation from each other, right? Division, distrusting, right? Violence toward their own brothers and sisters, right? Remember that movie? What's that movie? Rich Pride was in it, and Sidney Poitier and Bill Cosby.
It was all three of them.
All three of them was in it. Was that Uptown Saturday Night? Was it?
Was it?
Was it Let's Do It Again? No, Let's Do It. Which one? Uptown Saturday Night. Which one was that?
That was
Uptown Saturday. That was
I'm talking about the one
was in that?
where he no. Richard Pryor was in Sidney Poitier, Bill Cosby. Sidney Poitier, he won the lottery ticket.
That's Uptown Saturday Night, I think.
Oh, that's all right. Uptown Saturday Night.
I believe so. Uptown
Okay.
Saturday Night, yeah.
There's a line in that movie that Richard Pryor says that fits us today to a T. And he had ripped off Sidney Poitier because he had the wallet and he had the ticket in the lottery ticket in the wallet. And he wanted to find the lottery ticket because, remember, it was stolen. So he went to Richard Pryor, who was supposed to be a detective, and he took his money. And Richard Pryor, cops came, they was arresting him, and he was like, "Come on, man." Sidney Poitier was like, "Come on, brother, why you do this to me, brother?" And what did Richard Pryor say? Fits us today to the T where we are right now. He said, "Why not you, brother?"
Why not you?
And that's where we are right now today.
Yeah, that's true.
What does it mean to be black in America today? We still have values, some of us, most of us. But I think those values are changing slowly but surely. So now my question to you, brothers, is where would you like to see us begin restoring what we once lost?
I think for me, I think the restoring is learning how to trust and get more unity back in the communities, back towards one another, which probably be a hard task because it's hard, but you got to build on trust.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
Amen.
And the only way you're going to trust somebody is to, communicate with them and, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Get to know them.
Amen.
Get to know a person and build that trust. Because then from trust comes unity. I could trust this brother. That way me and him can be, boys. We can be down.
Right.
I could trust him to do so-and-so, and he could trust me to do so-and-so.
Amen.
Whatever the thing is. But first I start with the trust and building because we need that. Let me see. Second, after that, I think we gotta, as we trust each other, the community, I think the community will build up. Because once we have this set of people trusting one another and building, I think that trust is spread throughout the community.
All right.
Because I'm like, you got PTA meetings, you got football games, you meet people at football games. My kid is in their game, your kid is in their game. I can trust you to pick up my kid to think, you know what I'm saying? Right. That'll build and form. So once the community gets one, that gotta spread even worse. And you know what? To be, well, this is our show. Christ gotta be in there, all that.
Yeah, I was gonna finalize that.
Christ gotta be in all.
I was gonna finalize that. We gonna finish with that.
Yeah, but Christ gotta be in all that. And then see, as we building the trust between everybody seeing the Christ in the individual. You know what I'm saying? Because we all have it. Everybody got Christ. Don't tell me you ain't got it. A lot of people just don't know they got it and don't realize they don't want to use it. But everyone got Christ in their life. He's inside us, and we just got to express that love towards one another. Because that's in the Bible. That's one of his commandments, right?
Right.
He said, love your neighbor like yourself.
All right, now you're going where I was going. Now you're going where I was going. We're going to finalize that, but go ahead.
Okay, yeah, but that's basically it. Once we build that and everything, it got to filter through, and hopefully it can build through the state, build into our government. Because the government, I'm telling you, we get the senators or the representatives in our community to know what we want, and get the representatives from the community to expand it to the state, and that expands it to the government.
Amen.
And it's in Washington D.C.
Yep.
And that's how I would start preparing it. It's all about relationship.
I hear you.
And communication and trust.
All right. Where you at? You? What you got?
I mean, to me, when I look at history,
Mm-hmm.
any successful movement was always led by the young and counseled by the old.
Oh man, I like this.
You know, so I
like
feel
this.
They did you some speaking wisdom over there. Go ahead, boy.
I like this.
so
I like this right here.
I feel like I feel like a lot of our young people
Mm-hmm.
feel disregarded by us,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm.
what's the word I'm looking for? Not disregarded, but like we've expended them. We've written them off.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so what happens is when you begin to bring the youth back into the fold
Mm-hmm.
and to let them feel heard, understood,
Like they matter.
and respected.
Mm-hmm.
See, then that will empower them
Mm-hmm.
in itself.
All right.
Because if you have a community, say if you just take the city of Linden, the way we're in Linden.
Mm-hmm.
If the if the black people, the black community in Linden
Mm-hmm.
was to collectively embrace our youth in Linden
Mm-hmm.
and make them feel like they matter in Linden,
Mm-hmm.
then the youth in that community would become protected over that community
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
because I matter to these people.
Right.
So you ain't gonna come here and do what you want because these are my people.
All right.
When I speak, they listen.
Amen.
You know what I'm saying? So that's why I think that I believe, if I'm getting it right, that the Bible says something about where you have young men for war and old men for counsel.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So if you look at, like I said, if you look at the ages of Dr. King when he started,
Mm-hmm.
at the Nation of Islam, these were all young,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
viral, you know, saying energetic men. They
Mhm.
was out there, and because this is ours.
Right.
And that's what happens is that when and that's where the gains come from,
Mm-hmm.
because they feel like this is theirs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is what they hold on to.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that it starts with we have to embrace and listen to them and be open
Yeah.
and don't be judgmental.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's what they call, it's like using that word safe space.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They have to feel like if I express whatever I express, I'm going to be safe and respected in this. As long as I come that way.
Mm-hmm.
If I come respectful with my point of view, I'm going to be respected.
Right.
I might not be agreed with.
Right.
I might not even be supported. Meaning people agree with me and want to push my agenda.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to be respected. They
Amen.
respect me in this space.
Amen.
Yeah.
And that means not to a young person,
Yeah.
to a young 18, 19, 17, 21-year-old person. And they feel respected by their elders and not shunned or disregarded by their elders.
Yeah.
So to me, you have to start there.
I hear
You
you.
always have to start with the young people.
Oh yeah.
Amen.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
So that's what I would love to see.
And to merge both of what you guys are saying, again, for me, it's communication.
Mm-hmm.
That's the root of it all.
That's it.
That's what we got to start with. Communication. We got to communicate better amongst ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
I love both of your answers to the question, where would you start to repair this? For me, it would be communication because we had a communication breakdown.
Mm-hmm.
Even in the churches today, there's a communication breakdown,
Mm-hmm.
right? We're so separated and divided, even in the churches today. We got to break free from that. right? The community has to matter. I said this before and I said it again. I'll say it again. This is what the Lord put in my spirit. I share it with you. If you got 5 churches within a 3-mile radius and you still have the kind of crime that was going on before those 5 churches got there, you got a problem. Not with the people in the area, with the churches. There's enough souls out here to be saved for everybody to fill all of those churches if they work together. But if you got this church, Church A going against Church B going against Church C going against Church D going against Church E, our church is better, come here. No, see, the word says we're supposed to all come to the same understanding, right? So the church has got to come together. You're going into did you know that most churches that are not begun by the people in that community? They come into the community with the goal and the purpose of building up the community. But they don't do that. They come into the community with the purpose of getting souls in the community. No. Work within the community with the churches already in the community. If everybody's coming in the community to build up the community, how come that community still got the same issues that they had before the churches got there? Yeah. Communication has to start. You talked about the young and the old. Communication. A lot of young people don't want to hear like what happened 30 years ago. Like my daughter, we drop her off at school. And she asked us, she said, "Will any of you guys be able to give me a ride home from school?" I was like, "We work." And I said, you know how I said that. I went back to when I was in high school. I used to walk every day. You know what I mean? I didn't hit them with the grandparents. You know, we walked from 10 miles. No. Yeah. I didn't walk 10 miles. But we walked there every day. I told my daughter we walked there every day. She was like, "Oh, boy. Oh, goodness. Yep. It ain't like that now, Dad." You know, but it just goes to show you how the transition is happening. So I had to communicate with my daughter. I said, "Listen, there's going to be days when you're going to have to walk. Get used to that. Walking actually will be a benefit to you later on in life. Getting a ride everywhere is just going to make you more lazy." She was like, "Oh, I don't mind walking." So now she don't mind walking every now and again. So today, society, black people, old, young, we must do a better job of communicating. And I hear you, brother, but the young people today, they're very angst, right? They're very they amped, right?
There's a reason for that.
There's a reason for that, because they have this technology. And you know, there's people our age that don't own a computer, don't have a cell phone. But young people, they're being raised now. They're coming out the womb, seem like.
Yeah, you hear me? They're 2 years old. You know what I'm saying? They looking for their phone.
Hello? So there's a communication gap with that. Now, that's another way that we can come together, where the person who don't have the technology understanding can work with a younger person who does. That can create a better dynamic between the, you know what I mean? That'll build a nice bridge. And then you have the whole financial aspect of things. We need better communication between the poor and the rich. Middle class, we stuck in the middle.
Yes.
We catching it from both sides. We catching it from the rich and the poor. Rich running around here talking about pull yourself up from the bootstraps. Kind of easy to say when you have boots. Kind of easy to say.
Kind of easy to say.
Right?
Yeah.
So we're like in the middle of both social classes, and we have to kind of like orchestrate and bring everybody into the same fold.
Right.
That's communication. We got to learn how to talk like that. But I want to close and finalize with this. You touched on it. You got to love your neighbor as yourself. Love your neighbor as yourself. But Christ said, the scripture I was coming with was, "Do unto others as you would have them do unto you."
Amen. That's right. That's the word.
I don't want my grandmother to be, if she was still alive, I wouldn't want my grandmother to be walking down the street, she's lost, she's wandering, and nobody cares.
Yeah.
I would want somebody to say, "Hey, that's so-and-so grandmother. Let me
go
Ma,
help."
you all right, mother? You okay?"
Yeah.
Because I would do the same thing for somebody else's grandma.
Exactly.
So I don't want my son to be running down the street. You know what I'm saying? If he's a little kid, he's running down the street and he's running into traffic. I would want somebody to stop, get my little son, and be like, "Yo, that's so-and-so son," because I would do the same thing. I don't want my son to be hanging out with other kids that I don't know, doing things that I don't know, getting in trouble.
Right.
I would want somebody to say, "Hey, that's so-and-so son. Hey, that's so-and-so son." They say, "Hey, man, come here, brother. Let me talk to you, man. You don't want to be in this area.
Yeah.
You kids get out of this area. All of y'all, matter of fact." I saw some little kids. They were about 19, 11, maybe 19 or maybe 11, the highest, I would say the oldest. And they were cursing up a storm, walking down the street. And I thought to myself, I said, when I was their age, riding on our bikes, we weren't cursing like that. You know what I mean? We weren't cursing like that. So I said to the kids, I said, "Yo, first of all, check y'all language." And they looked at me with this
Like you had 9 heads.
you know what I mean? And they looked at me like, "Who is this guy?" And they saw me walking in my mail uniform, and it was like, "Oh, sorry, sir." But then when they turned the corner, I heard what they were saying. "Man, who that guy think he talking?" You know what I'm saying? But again, communication, bro. We got to do a better job of communicating our emotions, as you was talking about, our feelings, that trust. Trust is a built-in mechanism. We got it. I'm gonna prove it to you. When you go to the fast food joint, you don't know those people working there.
Yeah.
You don't know that dude on the fries.
Nope.
You don't know. You don't know that dude that's making your sandwich, your burger, whatever it is, right? The person that makes you don't know that sister taking your. You don't even know her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you're trusting that they're not going to mess up your order.
Mess it up.
Right? You're trusting that you're going to get a sandwich that's cooked. Right?
Yeah.
Now, sometimes that don't always work, right? Because I had the burger. I was eating the burger. I was like, "Oh, wow, this is the softest burger I've ever had in my life."
You pink in the middle?
Man, I opened it up. I was like, "Wait a minute." I opened that sandwich up. Wasn't no burger. It was just cheese and bread. I said,
It was missing the whole patty.
I said, yeah, it was missing the whole patty. I said, "See, this is why people always say don't go through the drive-thru." But again, we trust in people to do their job.
Yes.
And we don't know them. You trust the garbage man to pick up your garbage, right? You trust your mailman to give you the right mail, right? As long as you got the right address, the right name on the address, and being a mailman, let me say this.
The mailman can still see?
Yeah, I can still see. Let me say this while I got a chance to say this. People, please, if you live in an apartment building, please put your apartment number on your mail. Please have your businesses, who's sending you mail, whoever's corresponding with you, put that number, that the apartment that you stay in, on your mail. And if you live in a 2-family, please put first floor, second floor.
Yeah.
Communication.
That's it.
Communication.
That's it.
I think that being black in America is a beautiful thing. I'm not so offended by being called a black American. As some people are offended. How dare you? I'm not offended if you call me an African American. Now, you call me an N-word, we're going to have a problem. You call me an N-word, I don't care if you're black, white, Hispanic, I don't care what you are. You call me an N, I know the history about that. And my boy KRS-One, we're going to do a whole segment on that. But my boy KRS-One, and I don't know him personally. He don't know me. He probably never heard of me. But I like his music. But I used to back in the day.
Right.
But he's trying to say that the N-word came out of the Bible. It probably did, but through misinformation, misunderstanding. And he's trying to make it some kind of glorified name. Him and Michael Collier, one of the funniest comics in the history of comedians. He's also another one that's trying to join in and chime in and make it something positive. I want you to think about this, though, people. Richard Pryor himself, one of the funniest men in America. Yeah, we know he was profane laced. We understand. most comedians that they are, we don't agree with that. But think about this. Richard Pryor went to Africa, and he said, a voice said, look around, listen, and look around. He said, tell me what you see. And Richard Pryor started, he was saying, he's looking around, he's like, yo. And he said, the voice said, do you see any N-words?
Mm-hmm.
And that, to the best of my knowledge, was the last time that he used the N-word outside of having to say it in a a movie, on a screenplay of a movie.
Mm-hmm.
That was the last time I seen it.
Yeah,
Now, maybe he did it later on, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But at that time that he spoke those words, at that show,
Yeah, that was one of his stand-ups, right?
that was one of his stand-up comedy specials.
He really went to Africa, right?
Yeah, he really went to Africa.
Yeah.
And he said, yo, that was funny when he went, he told me about it.
Yeah. I remember that.
So the word wants us to focus on those things. Get back to being respectful.
Mm-hmm.
Communicate better.
Right.
That we can do a whole segment on communication, because what do women always say?
Mm-hmm.
You don't listen.
You don't listen.
You don't hear me.
You don't talk.
You
to
ain't
me.
trying to understand.
You don't talk to me.
Right? What do we say? What do men say? I hear you.
I hear you. Yeah.
I hear you.
Say
You're
something.
not listening.
I hear you, but you're not listening. Matter of fact, Beyonce had a song called "Cause You Won't Listen."
Listen.
Communication, though. Communication is where I think we need to start, and that's where the relationship has to blossom. You're talking about trust, and you're talking about validity between the young and the old, making the young feel as though they're necessary and they're needed. They want to be validated.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the old people want to be validated too, because we have a problem in this country where old people are being pushed out the door, right? So we are all, in our age group, we're bridging the gap, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So with that being said, fellas, everybody listening,
Yes.
hopefully we'll have the number up and running next week. He said, huh. Hopefully have the number up and running next week, and God willing, we'll be able to stick to the script and be out on time. But as Sean would tell you, I'm very long-winded. I can talk.
Yeah, he could talk.
When Sean was gone, man, I just enjoyed myself, and I'm enjoying the fact that he's back here now, and I'm looking forward to even better shows. And Sean got some high-powered people coming in. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Come on, Pastor Starlin.
Yeah, Pastor Starlin.
Come on, Pastor Starlin. Stop ducking us.
Yeah, I know, right? Pastor Starlin be ducking. I be like, yo, he my pastor. I be like, when you coming? But yeah, that's it for us tonight, y'all. We gonna thank from Yusuf,
Yes,
to Ronald,
sir. Yes, sir.
and I'm Sean.
And thank all of you.
We thank all of you for tuning in.
Yeah.
God bless. Good night.
Good night.